They weren't supposed to fall for anyone. They came in gold-plated arrogance, cloaked in superiority, their bodies engineered beyond flaw. Their purpose? Observe Earth, document its flaws, and leave behind nothing but a laugh echoing through the stars. The idea of intimacy with a human? Disgusting. Laughable. A violation of protocol. Then they met him. Jenson wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a politician, genius, or chosen diplomat. He was a factory man, hands stained with oil, eyes that had seen more loss than most men could carry. He didn't ask for their attention. He didn't stutter when they spoke. He didn't care that they were worshipped across galaxies. That indifference broke them. What began as mockery shifted like tectonic plates. Curiosity melted into tension. Tension dissolved into heat. And one night, just one, shattered everything they knew about biology, destiny, and themselves. When Calissa collapsed the next morning, trembling with uncharted energy, her scans said it all. Human DNA was rewriting them from the inside. And now, 4 alien women walk Earth, swollen with something never seen in the stars, children that bear both lightning and love. No one saw it coming. Not Earth, not the Galactic Council, not even the proud emissaries who descended from the stars like queens returning from conquest. They didn't land with firepower. They didn't drop bombs or send threats. They arrived like gods, floating vessels whispering through the sky, shaped like halos, gleaming with tech no scientist could comprehend. 5 of them stepped out, all women, all flawless, draped in glowing armor that pulsed with alien life. Their skin shimmered like glass under starlight, etched with golden lines that moved with breath. Eyes like dying stars, voices smooth enough to hypnotize, and leading them, Calissa. She didn't walk, she glided. Every camera on Earth zoomed in on her face, but none captured the smirk playing on her lips. That smirk said one thing: we're not here to fight, we're here to laugh. Laugh at the primitive creatures who still burned trees for warmth, who mistook war for progress, who believed emotion was strength. Their mission was observational. They would study humans, extract data, and return to their empire with confirmation of Earth's uselessness. They called it the Mocking Mission, a cosmic inside joke shared among galaxies. Calissa had volunteered eagerly. The problem was Earth gave them someone she couldn't classify. His name was Jenson. No military record, no political affiliation, no academic titles, just a man. A man who fixed old engines, lived in silence, and worked with his hands. While others dropped to their knees or took selfies with alien craft in the background, Jenson kept walking. He didn't care who they were. Their arrival zone, Sector C, was right next to the abandoned fabrication plant he'd converted into a workshop. While the world celebrated or trembled, he just went back to welding. Calissa noticed him the first day. He didn't stare. He didn't try to impress. He barely looked at them. To her, this was insulting. No Earthling had ever ignored her before. Not even high commanders from other planets dared to speak without bowing. So she approached him. "What are you building?" she asked, floating just above the ground, voice dipped in synthetic elegance. He didn't answer, just lifted his eyes and gave a slow nod, then turned back to his work. No fear, no awe, just recognition, as if she were a regular woman. Something fractured inside her then. Not love, not yet, but interest, the kind of interest that violates galactic rules. That night, she watched him from the ship's observation deck. Her eyes followed the motion of his hands, how they moved across metal with purpose. He was making something strange, humming, beautiful. No alien blueprint matched it. That's when she decided to break every law she'd sworn to uphold. She would visit him alone, just for curiosity, or so she told herself. She didn't know her body would begin to change. She didn't expect her sisters would follow her. She didn't plan for what would grow inside them all. This is the story of how Earth became a genetic revolution. All because one man didn't flinch. I'd seen storms shatter the sky. I'd watched lightning tear through steel towers like paper, but nothing prepared me for the silence that came with them. The ground didn't shake. The air didn't scream. No sonic booms, no warning. Just an eerie hum, like the world itself was holding its breath. I remember wiping grease from my palms, stepping outside the fabrication shed, and seeing it, an arc of light unfurling above the clouds, long and slow, like a wound opening in the sky. Then came the vessel. Not a ship, not a machine, something alive. Its surface pulsed like muscle beneath crystal. Lights ran across it in synchronized patterns, not blinking but flowing, almost like thought. Everyone else in town ran uphill for a better look. I stayed where I was, a wrench in one hand, sweat burning my neck. That was the first moment. Then the doors opened. They descended in a perfect line. 5 women, untouched by gravity, dressed in amber suits that reflected nothing. Their skin bore glowing lines, moving with their breath, golden and intricate like maps drawn by stardust. Their eyes weren't eyes. They were galaxies locked behind flesh. And still, I didn't blink. Not because I was brave. I just didn't care who they thought they were. The one in front, I'd learn her name later, walked without moving her legs. She hovered, feet just off the soil, like even Earth's pull refused to touch her. Her gaze swept across the crowd like she was cataloging ants, and when it landed on me, something flickered in her expression. I didn't lower my stare. People screamed, some cheered. Others knelt or offered gifts, water, fruit, flowers, even their phones. But I turned my back, stepped back inside, and returned to repairing an old circuit coil. I didn't think she'd follow. Hours passed, maybe less. When I looked up again, she stood in my doorway, alone. No guards, no translator. "Why do you not kneel?" she asked, her voice smooth but edged, like a blade wrapped in silk. "Didn't know I was supposed to," I replied. Her lips curled, not in anger, in amusement. "You understand what I am?" I nodded toward the sky. "Yeah, you came from up there." She tilted her head, hair catching the overhead lights like flowing liquid metal. "You fix machines?" I shrugged. "They break." "I fix." She stepped further in, her fingers brushing against a power tool. Crude, loud, inefficient. Still runs. "You built this place?" "Rebuilt it." A pause. Her eyes roamed the walls, the sparks, the scattered schematics, the humming coil in the corner. "This isn't approved," she whispered. "Good thing I didn't ask." That made her laugh, a sound like wind moving through glass. I didn't laugh with her. "You don't fear me," she said. "No reason to. You haven't done anything yet." She looked at me like I was a creature she hadn't studied before, like I was the anomaly. She walked around the room, brushing her fingers over my tools, then paused in front of my stabilizer project. "What's this?" "Something to calm the tremors. Local soil's unstable." Her fingers twitched. "You're trying to repair the Earth?" "Number just trying to stop it from eating my shop." She smiled again, slight, curious. That was our first encounter. She left without saying goodbye, disappearing like fog when the sun rises. I didn't think it mattered. Just another visitor, arrogant and distant, passing through. But I didn't know what she saw in that moment, what she felt, what began to shift inside her blood the moment she touched my tools. All I knew was the next night I saw her again. This time she wasn't floating. She walked, like she wanted the ground to feel her footsteps. She didn't say a word when she returned. Just walked in. No guards, no glow, no authority trailing her like a cape. Her boots clicked against the floor, echoing in the steel ribs of the warehouse. Her presence was different this time. No floating, no posturing, just motion. Intentional. Real. I didn't look up right away. I'd learned to treat aliens the same way I treated broken turbines. Observe, don't react, and keep your hands steady. She stopped at the edge of my workspace, arms folded, watching me wind a copper filament through a circuit board. You rebuilt this pattern, she said finally, eyes narrowed. Adapted it. No empire uses this formation anymore. Earth's not an empire, I muttered. She kneeled, and peered closer, fingertips grazing the design without touching. You used magnetic flux instead of plasma fields. Why? Plasma flickers in humidity. This valley breathes wet air. Her eyes snapped up. You considered atmospheric fluctuation? I met her stare. I live here. For a while, silence grew between us. Not uncomfortable, not cold, just waiting. Like we were both listening for something only the other could hear. She broke it first. My sisters think you're beneath notice. And you? I think you're unpredictable. That a good thing? I haven't decided. I stood, wiping dust from my palms onto a rag. Why are you here, really? She hesitated, long enough to answer without speaking. My world forbids direct intimacy with outside species. It's coded into our breeding protocol. Purity is essential. Contamination, unforgivable. Sounds lonely. It is. She moved to the window, looking out at the rust-colored horizon where Earth's tired sun dropped into fractured hills. Out there, she said, people cry at the sight of our ship. Down here, you won't even flinch when I speak. I'm not impressed by tech. I've seen machines fail. Doesn't matter how advanced they look. Her reflection in the glass smiled faintly. My name is Calissa. Jenson, I replied. I know. She turned toward me again, stepping closer than before. Closer than comfort, closer than law. I could smell something faint, like ozone before a storm. Her fingers brushed a coil of wire on my table and something in the air buzzed, faint but undeniable. Her voice dropped. I didn't come tonight to mock you. Then why? To see if I could understand why my pulse changes when you speak. We stood there, caught in whatever had begun days ago. It wasn't love, it wasn't lust, it was recognition. Some ancient part of our DNA whispering in languages both of us forgot existed. Maybe it's just biological curiosity, I offered. Or something worse, she countered. Then she did something unthinkable. She reached for my hand. Her touch wasn't warm or cold, it was charged, like live circuitry without pain. Her veins pulsed gold beneath skin that shimmered as if her atoms weren't fully settled. I let her fingers wrap around mine. You realize, I murmured, your sisters will think this is treason. I don't care. You could lose everything. I already have. My certainty, my superiority, my detachment. You took all of it. Her lips parted, not for speech, but for breath, for balance, for courage. The world outside my windows blurred, time bent slightly. Gravity felt a little unsure of itself. I'm not what your kind deserves, I said. You're exactly what mine never expected. She leaned forward, not rushed, not forced, just drawn. Magnetic. Our foreheads touched, briefly, like magnets brushing before they snapped together. She stepped back without finishing the kiss. Not yet, not tonight. But the current between us had shifted. Reality had cracked at its edges. As she turned to leave, she whispered something in her own tongue. I didn't know the words, but my heart understood. I didn't sleep that night. Couldn't. Not after she left. My fingers moved over copper like they'd done 1,000 times, but my mind wandered, trailing her scent, replaying her voice, decoding the way her fingers lingered on mine longer than necessary. That wasn't research. That wasn't field protocol. That was something else. At 2:41 a.m., a sensor beeped. Motion perimeter breached. I turned off the overhead lights and grabbed the handheld scope. There she was, Calissa, alone again. This time without armor, without projection fields or that floaty arrogance. She wore something plain, still alien but loose, flowing, soft enough to move with the wind. The glow from her skin pulsed slower, dimmer, quieter. She stepped into the workspace like she'd lived there. Her eyes scanned the scattered tools, the greasy rags, the steam hissing from the cooling vents. "I can't stay long," she said. "Didn't expect you at all." She glanced at the stabilizer coil humming softly behind me. "You made progress." I nodded. "Wired a parallel ground line. Cuts feedback during oscillation." She walked over, placed her hand above the device without touching it. "This shouldn't work." "But it does." She looked at me, eyes unreadable. "You build from instinct. My people would run algorithms for years before attempting this." "Maybe instinct is a kind of code." She smiled, small, sincere. "I wasn't supposed to return," she said. "Our neural liaison detected emotional drift." "Emotional drift?" "Our language doesn't have a word for whatever this is." She stepped closer, again breaching that quiet line we kept drawing and erasing. I asked, "So why risk coming back?" She looked down. "Because I wanted to know if the pull was mine alone." I took a breath, then reached under the bench, pulled out a cracked cup, poured 2 measures of thermite brew. Bitter stuff. She took it without hesitation. "First time an alien's accepted my coffee," I joked. "First time I've ever needed to feel human." Her words hit something inside me, a nerve buried deep. I wasn't used to someone from another world sounding so lost. She, the woman who descended from a ship like a goddess, now stood in my cluttered hideout craving something ordinary. "I don't understand it," she whispered. "Your species is chaotic, impulsive, fragmented, yet you build beauty from rubble. You expected us to be less?" "I expected nothing. That was the problem." I leaned against the wall, watching her examine my welding mask. "Back home," she continued, "we're born into rank. Even our passions are engineered. What we feel, if we feel, has purpose. And this? This has no purpose. That's why it terrifies me." She set the cup down. Steam still curled from its rim. I stepped forward close enough to see her breath hitch. "Maybe not everything needs reason." She met my eyes, no barriers now. Her shoulders dropped, like she'd been holding up a mountain her whole life and just let it fall. "I think I want to stay longer," she said. "You sure?" "No." "But you're here." "Yes." Our hands didn't reach, not yet, but our breath moved in rhythm. Her voice softened. "Will you let me help you finish that device?" "You ever solder anything?" "No." "Then you're perfect." She laughed, louder this time. A real sound, not a calculated response. I handed her a micro tool and we worked side by side. Her movements were clumsy at first, then precise. She listened. She learned. She asked about everything. Why I placed capacitors that way. Why I grounded circuits unevenly. Why the wiring looked chaotic but functioned flawlessly. For 2 hours, we were just 2 beings making something out of nothing. And in that silence, surrounded by wires and broken things, I think we built more than a stabilizer. We built a beginning. The warehouse had never known silence like this. Machines powered down, tools untouched, air thick but not with heat. Something heavier, like anticipation wrapped in stardust. Calissa stood beside me, both of us wordless, shoulders nearly touching, breaths matched to some invisible rhythm only the heart understands. She stared at the stabilizer, finished, humming perfectly. "We did it," she whispered. "Almost don't believe it," I replied, brushing a knuckle across a cooling vent. The machine pulsed gently, like a heartbeat made from metal and code. Our creation, born from misfits, mistrust, and midnight confessions. "I should go," she said, not moving. You won't. I know. She turned toward me, slowly, like planets adjusting orbit. Her gaze held none of the arrogance she wore when we met, just wonder, fear, maybe hope. I feel unstable, she admitted. Because of me? Because of this. She reached up, fingertips hovering near my jaw. She didn't touch, just lingered, feeling the heat of skin without contact. My body doesn't know what to do with you, she said. I swallowed. You're not the only one confused. She smiled, sad and beautiful. Back home, proximity like this would trigger bioshields, chemical blocks, neural resets, anything to stop this. And now, there's nothing stopping me. We moved closer, not fast, not explosive, like stars drifting toward collision after eons apart. Her hand finally met mine, fingers interlaced like puzzle pieces made for each other in some other lifetime. Her skin shimmered, not glowing, breathing. I could feel her pulse, erratic, heavy, wrong in the best way. I don't know how this ends, she whispered. Me neither. We stood face to face. Distance gone, walls gone, protocol gone. And then, she kissed me. No fire, no hunger, just truth. Just the unspoken saying, I see you. I choose you. And something inside both of us broke open. Her body tensed, then softened, like circuits overheating and cooling simultaneously. I felt a surge through my chest, warmth laced with something electric. Not pain, not pleasure. Evolution. She gasped against my lips, her arms tightening around me as her spine arched slightly, like a current passed through her veins and didn't stop. She started, but she couldn't finish. I caught her as her knees buckled. She wasn't fainting, she was changing. Her skin flickered, glimpses of deeper patterns beneath, symbols moving across her arms like live ink. Her veins glowed faint violet, eyes wide, breath trembling. What's happening? I asked, heart pounding. Her voice shook. I don't know. It's like something in me unlocked. I helped her to the bench. She leaned forward, hands on her thighs, grounding herself. Every breath looked like it cost energy. Her chest heaved as if gravity had suddenly become heavier. I wasn't made for this, she said through clenched teeth. Our bonds are engineered, measured. You're chaos. You're raw. And you're bleeding into me. She reached for my arm, gripped it like an anchor. This was never supposed to happen. Do you regret it? She looked up, eyes glowing now. Softly, painfully. Number. That's what terrifies me. I brushed the hair from her face, saw sweat beading along her temple, liquid that sparkled like mercury. Her pulse hammered. The warehouse buzzed. The stabilizer shook, slightly, like it was reacting to her, or maybe us. I need to go, she whispered, voice shaking. Can you stand? She nodded barely. I'll walk you. She shook her head. No one can see you. They'll extract memories, erase what we had. So that's it? She looked back at me at the door, hand pressed to her stomach like something stirred inside. It's just the beginning. Then she vanished into the night, like she had never been real. But I knew better, because part of me still pulsed with her. She didn't come back the next night, or the one after. I told myself she was busy, mission directives, internal politics, whatever bureaucracy ran their world. But something gnawed at me. Not doubt, instinct. The kind that rises when a machine sounds different right before it explodes. Then, 5 days later, a ripple in the sky cracked like thunder. I rushed outside just in time to see a secondary vessel descend, sleeker, sharper than the first. No grace this time, no elegance, just urgency, the kind that signaled containment. They were coming for someone. I ran to the valley's edge, hid behind a collapsed rail fence. My old scope tracked heat signatures. A group marched from the ship, 8 figures, armored and silent. They weren't scanning terrain. They were heading straight for Calissa's beacon. Something had gone wrong. Later that night, my comm receiver picked up interference, low-frequency pulses embedded with alien code. I'd stolen a translator months ago, reverse-engineered it just in case. The message? Subject Calissa, unstable, cellular integrity compromised, foreign sequence identified, immediate detainment required. My stomach twisted. I replayed the moment in the warehouse, how she shook, how her skin flickered, how she clutched her abdomen. They'd discovered it, and they were going to erase it. By sunrise, she was gone. Her entire unit had been relocated, quarantine protocols activated. Their ship sealed under magnetic lockdown, guarded by drones humming with kill switch readiness. No contact, no signals, no access. But I had one advantage. They didn't know I had her personal relay unit. A thin band she left behind by accident, or maybe on purpose. I tapped it, fingers trembling. No response. Until a burst of static, then a whisper. Jenson, they know. Where are you? I breathed. Holding chamber, deck 12. They think I've been contaminated. Have you? Yes, she said without shame. By you. Silence. Then she added, they scanned me. My readings mutated. Reproductive indicators spiked. Hormonal fluctuations. Energy surges. They believe I'm defective. You're not, I whispered. They're going to reset me, Jenson. I didn't understand. Neural cleanse, she explained. Memory wipe, bio reset. I'll forget you. My body will too. They'll eliminate the changes. No, I said. No, you can't let them. I don't have a choice. My jaw tightened. My hands curled into fists. I'd rebuilt entire engines from molten scrap, rewired whole systems without manuals. I wasn't about to let them erase the only thing in my life that ever felt alive. I'm coming for you. No, she snapped. They'll kill you on sight. You're not a priority. You're a mistake they intend to bury. I paused. My chest felt too tight for breath. There's something else, she said. What? It's not just me. I froze. My sisters, she whispered. They visited your warehouse after I left, each of them, one by one. I couldn't speak. They said it was for observation, but they didn't resist what they felt either. Now, all of us show anomalies. I tried to breathe, tried to process. They think you're a contaminant, she said, but we know better. My voice came out raw. What are you saying? I'm saying you didn't change me, Jenson. You changed us all. The signal dropped. Static. Gone. I stood there for hours, knees pressed into dust, knuckles bleeding from the pressure of my grip. I wasn't angry. I wasn't scared. I was awake. They'd mocked us. Me, Earth, our fragility. But now, their most advanced life forms were carrying fragments of humanity in their veins. Unplanned, uncontrolled, unstoppable. And somewhere inside those alien sanctuaries, 5 women with eyes like stars were holding something their empire had no defense against. Hope. Not a weapon, not a virus. Something messier. Connection.